Leonardo DiCaprio just got busted in Paris, and this time, even his team couldn't spin it. What was supposed to be a low-key night turned into a full-blown frenzy after he was spotted with someone he was definitely not supposed to be around. Now fans are asking one question: what was Leonardo hiding, and why did he move so fast to shut everyone up? So for those who don't know the story yet, Leonardo DiCaprio was in Paris a few nights ago, supposedly keeping things low-key. He'd been spotted at a private dinner that turned a little too interesting when fans realized who was there with him: model Vittoria Ceretti. At first it looked innocent enough, but the next day things got weird. Paparazzi caught Leo leaving in a rush, face half covered, while Vittoria slipped out through a separate exit. People immediately started piecing things together. Why was he avoiding cameras now when he's been fine being seen with her before? And why did they leave like they were trying to erase the night altogether? That's when online detectives kicked in, saying something must have gone down inside that dinner. Because if there's one thing Leo's mastered over the years, it's keeping his private life quiet. But this time, that silence spoke volumes. And that's where things start getting messy. That dinner in Paris wasn't your regular celebrity get-together, not even close. Reports say Kim Kardashian was there, a few industry insiders, and two women who weren't on the original guest list. Now here's the twist. One of those women left with Leo later that night, and that's where the internet started cooking theories. Was this just another Leo being Leo situation? Or did something happen that he really didn't want public? The timing raised eyebrows, because the very next evening, the same woman was seen entering a private event, and minutes later, Leonardo showed up through a completely different entrance, like he was making sure no one connected the dots. For fans, that was enough. Screenshots, tweets, blurry photos all started flying around online, and suddenly it wasn't just another celebrity dinner anymore. It looked like Leo was dodging something way bigger than a few paparazzi cameras. And that's when things took a turn, because someone inside that event said he looked tense all night, barely speaking, checking his phone constantly. What was he so afraid of being seen doing? We'll get to that, but first, there's one more piece of this puzzle you need to see. The next day, Leonardo was spotted again. Same clothes, same cap, same low profile, but this time the way he moved had everyone talking. His team tried to play it cool, guiding him through a side exit while cameras flashed from every direction. But Leo barely looked up, just that same baseball cap, head down, pretending like the chaos wasn't even there. At first glance, it looked like the usual celebrity-avoiding paparazzi routine. But then came the detail that fans couldn't ignore. He wasn't supposed to be leaving alone. Yet Vittoria was nowhere in sight. Different exits, different timing. Almost as if they planned it that way. And the weirdest part? Someone who attended the same event told a Paris outlet that Leo looked like he'd seen a ghost. Quiet, distant, constantly checking his phone like he was waiting for something to go wrong. Now, maybe that's just coincidence, or maybe it's a glimpse of what's really going on behind the scenes. Because if you look closely, this isn't the first time Leo's done this exact thing. The disappearing act, the silent exits, the sudden mood shift. This pattern didn't start in Paris. It's been happening for months. And that's where things start to get really interesting. Once you start looking back, Paris doesn't seem like an isolated moment at all. It feels like the continuation of something he's been doing for months. Because if you rewind a bit, you'll see the same thing playing out in Milan during Fashion Week. Leo arriving through side entrances, leaving through kitchens, never stopping for photos, always wearing the same mask and cap combo like a uniform for invisibility. Before that, Santa Barbara, the same subtle escape. A quick date, an ice cream run, a few blurry photos, and then he vanished again before anyone could even ask questions. And it's not just his movements, it's his energy. Gone are the days when Leonardo DiCaprio walked into a room like he owned it. Now he walks in like he's trying not to exist. The same man who once commanded the spotlight seems to be running from it. People started joking about it online, calling him the master of the silent exit, saying he's invisible until further notice. But the truth might be a lot heavier than the memes make it seem. You don't go this quiet unless you're hiding something. Maybe not a scandal, maybe something deeper. Something that's been eating at him long before Paris. And that's exactly where everything starts to make sense, once you hear what Leonardo himself admitted not too long ago. And here's where it all starts to click, because while everyone was busy talking about who Leonardo DiCaprio was seen with, he quietly said something that explained everything. In an interview earlier this year, Leo admitted that turning 50 hit him harder than he expected. He said it made him realize that he didn't want to fake it anymore. Not in his work, not in his relationships, not even in how he's seen by the public. He said, "You get to a point where you just stop pretending. You stop trying to play the part people expect of you." That doesn't sound like a man enjoying fame. That sounds like someone who's tired of the performance. For decades, Leonardo DiCaprio has been the definition of Hollywood's eternal bachelor, the charming movie star who could have anyone, go anywhere, and live however he wanted. But behind the sunglasses and the dodged cameras, there's a shift happening, and Paris might have been the moment it all showed. Because when you've spent half your life being a symbol of success, of youth, of power, it eventually starts to feel like a mask you can't take off. And maybe that's why he looked so tense that night. Not because he was hiding a scandal, but because he was hiding himself. That's not a midlife crisis, that's a confession. And it becomes even clearer once you look at the one person who's been with him through all this, the woman who might just be changing everything for him. And that woman is none other than Vittoria Ceretti. Now, here's where things get interesting, because while the internet loves to joke about Leonardo's under 25 rule, Vittoria doesn't fit the stereotype. She's not some new fling caught in the spotlight. She's been there quietly, consistently, and with a kind of maturity that's thrown everyone off balance. This isn't another summer romance story, it's something steadier, something that actually makes sense for a man who's clearly trying to pull back from the noise. She's been by his side during the chaos, never chasing cameras, never selling stories, and that alone has started to shift how fans see him. And the funny thing is, the same people who used to clown Leonardo for his never-commit era are now kind of rooting for him, because suddenly he's showing up different. He's keeping things private, choosing peace over parties, and the look on his face? It's not the blank poker face we're used to. It's a man who actually looks settled. Even insiders close to him have hinted that this might be the calmest they've seen him in years. No frantic schedule, no wild headlines, just a man enjoying life without trying to prove anything. And maybe that's why this whole Paris situation blew up the way it did. People aren't used to seeing Leonardo not running from something. They're used to drama following him, but this time, it feels like the noise caught up to someone who's finally outgrown it. So the real question isn't whether Leonardo DiCaprio is hiding another scandal. It's whether this version of him, the quieter, more grounded one, is the real Leonardo we're just now getting to see. At this point, it's not even about the Paris photos anymore. It's about a man who spent his entire life being watched, finally realizing he doesn't owe the world a performance. Because when you really look at Leonardo DiCaprio now, the quiet dinners, the low-profile getaways, the absence of chaos, it's not secrecy, it's self-preservation. He's not dodging paparazzi because he's hiding a scandal. He's dodging them because for the first time, peace actually matters more than publicity. And that's the twist most people missed. What looked like Leonardo DiCaprio disappearing was him finally showing up as himself. Maybe that's why Vittoria stayed, because she wasn't there for the myth. She was there for the man who's learning to live outside it. And maybe that night in Paris wasn't about avoiding cameras at all. Maybe it was about something a lot quieter and a lot harder to do in Hollywood, choosing privacy over performance. Because when you've lived your whole life in the spotlight, sometimes disappearing is the loudest thing you can do. And here's what makes this moment so powerful. Leonardo isn't running away from fame. He's redefining what it means to live with it. For decades, Hollywood sold us the idea that celebrities owe us access, that their lives are public property, that we deserve to know everything, see everything, judge everything. But Leo's saying no, not with anger, not with drama, just with quiet, consistent boundaries that most stars are too afraid to set. Think about how rare that is. We live in an era where celebrities overshare everything. Their breakfast, their breakups, their breakdowns, all for likes and engagement. But Leonardo? He's doing the opposite. He's choosing mystery over marketing, substance over spectacle. And maybe that's why people are so fascinated, because in a world that demands constant performance, watching someone refuse to play along feels almost revolutionary. The truth is, Paris wasn't a scandal, it was a statement, a quiet declaration that after 30 years of living for the cameras, Leonardo DiCaprio is finally living for himself. And if that makes people uncomfortable, if that sparks rumors and theories and endless speculation, so be it. Because at the end of the day, the only person who needs to understand Leonardo's choices is Leonardo himself. And judging by the way he's been moving lately, calm, intentional, unbothered, it seems like he's finally figured that out. Maybe that's the real story here, not what happened in Paris, but what's happening inside the man who spent his whole life being everyone's idea of Leonardo DiCaprio and is now becoming his own.